So I guess finally I'll try to get into some of this beat making stuff. One thing I want to point out is the piano roll. Like I said, the steps sequencer is laid out right now so that you're able to access the basic function, the easiest way to use this thing. If they just showed you the hardest steps, you'd be forever learning this program. So they don't want you to have to sit down and study this stuff. They want it to be easy for you to create something. So if you look here, you have your panning for each, like for your kick. Let's say you want your kick only on the right side, then you would move it this way. Only on your left, you move it that way. Reset puts it back in the center. These are your volume levels for each sound, each sample or whatever. There is a default, I believe it's 75% on these. So if you go any higher than that, you'll start flashing red up here unless you have a limiter on your master. That's why I say keep a limiter on your master. That way you'll be able to turn these sounds up the way that you want to. One thing that you also might want to consider is, like I say, on your kick, a lot of times what people use on the kicks is a compressor. And then for other sounds too. But as well as on your vocals, you want to use a compressor. You have your multi-band compressor here. You have a what other compressors do we have? We have the limiter, the fruity limiter. We have a fruity compressor, which is the one you probably would want to use for a kick. You can use different ones, but like I say, your fruity limiter. This is the one we've already talked about. Yeah, it's on our master setting over here. You can see that right there. But on your kick, see if you click each different one, you notice that there's an arrow on top. And then you look over here, there's different settings. If I click here, there's nothing because we haven't put anything on that channel. You don't need to use all your, it just depends on how many. But anyways, your limiter here. If you click on this, you see it says plugin options up there. When I click on this, and you go to presets. It has different presets here: drum compression 2, drum compression 3, drum expanding, drums light saturation. Like I say, you want to go through and select which one sounds right for you. So let's see here. Turn this down a little bit. One thing I'm going to do right now is if you see these green lights, you can turn these things off. You just want to hear your kick, so you can compress your kick. Same thing down here. If I turn these back on, and I want to turn them off down here, you notice that there's only the kick and the metronome playing. Turn my metronome off, I just have my kick. Okay, so, and there's your snare. But you want to play a compression. What a compression will do, it'll compress that kick and make it sound, you'll be able to turn it up more. It'll make it sound louder. It'll compress it so you're able to turn it up more without exceeding your volume level. And like I say, you have presets. You notice how that got louder. That's how it was before. But this part 2, 3, a little lower. Drum expanding for drums. Like I say, you just wanna choose which best suits you. And like I say, when you go to drum compression, you notice how they have the presets here. All of these knobs are on a certain preset for a certain reason. But like I say, do it whatever best suits you, and we can turn all of our sounds back on. Metronome. We don't need the metronome now since we have this hat going. This is your snare. Now, if you notice, if I, let me see. Oh, and the way I'm stopping and starting that, instead of pressing play and stop, I use my space bar. So when I press my space bar, it starts and stops it. So if you notice what I was telling you earlier about the sounds on this step sequencer, everything is default, like I told you here, on a C5 note, which is the way that sound originally was uploaded into FL Studio, the way that sound originally sounds. So if you want to change the sound, like the sound that I want, is right there. I'm pressing the J key. So that sound may be different than the one I'm pressing. So one thing that I want to do is I want to right click on this snare sound sample, and I want to go to send to piano roll. Now before you do this, there's a problem, because once you send to piano roll, it's often quite hard to get it back to this elementary type of the way that it looks. So if you don't really want to get into that, then, you know, if you want to keep it simple, you may want to stay here for a while. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you, since I already know how to do this. Now that I've sent to piano roll, you see how this looks. And one thing I can't, now you see how it looks different than the others. One thing I can do is I can undo. It says undo step to piano roll. Now if I made a mistake, I can do that and it puts it back. But I want to show you something. You notice we have 1 and we have 2. Now when we were on the other page, you notice that if you look, it stops right here. When we're on the piano roll, you look, it stops right here, and then this one's real long. Now with the snare, it doesn't really make a difference, but that's just the way this program does it. It's only 2, but it looks like 1 and 1 long one, but it's not going to do that. Simply 2 notes. You can see this lighting up. Simply 2 notes. It would be the same thing as this, or even this. So now I'm going to undo. So we're back where we started. But one thing that I want to show is, and like I say, the piano roll is really where, once you start using the piano roll, you're pretty much in that advanced, you know, professional like step. This is just like the basic step here. You know, once you get your sounds going. I want to show you something else in the piano roll. If you look here, it says velocity. If you look here at the bottom, it has 2. You know, everywhere you put one of these, it's going to show a line down here at the bottom. So velocity is simply the volume. So if you click, if you notice, it's not all the way up. This is the way that FL Studio has it default. If you go any higher than this, you will peak. But if you have a limiter, it's not really nothing to worry about. So, like I say, I was pressing the J key, and if you notice that it's on A4, these notes are on C5. So the J key is where I wanted my sounds. So actually, I may just leave one of them up there. You know, and that's the way that it goes. You don't want all of your sounds on the same note. You know, to make the song stand out and more interesting, you want to use different notes. You know, but like I said, you have your velocity, you have your panning. Now I talked about panning here. This is like more like an elementary step. You can pan that whole, every sound on that snare, you can pan to the left or to the right. But when you go into your piano roll, you have more options. You can pan each note that you have there. Let's say I wanted this one to pan to the right, and I wanted this one to pan to the left. Now if you listen to it, one is on the right speaker, which is this one, and this one's on the left speaker. Or you don't have to put them all the way at 100%. You can put it 66% or 50% or 33%, 10%, whatever. And you know, the way you would put it back is if you look up here, it shows you as you move this the percentage, and to put that back in the center, you know, we can simply put it back in the center just like that. But one thing that might get you messed up, let's say I move this to the right all the way, and then let's say I open up a another sound here. Let's take something from the browser. Let's take this kick from the browser. Now, when I go to my piano roll, if I paste sounds here like this is your velocity, which is your volume. It's probably going to always be default. Well, no, unless you move it. If I move you notice I came from the snare. So what I had did in the snare is I had moved that last sound to the right all the way. So now all of my sounds for this project, for this sound or sample, are all on the right, and you don't want that. Sometimes I'll finish a whole song and then realize, well, it sounds like my kick is all on the right, and then I wonder why. It's always going to do the last thing you did in that piano roll. So if I put these back into the center, now I don't have to worry about that problem. Now when I press right here, you notice that they're all in the center. But if that last one, oh, sorry, it moved two of them, but it doesn't matter. The last one that I did, you notice I went to the right. If I click now, well, no, let me see. There we go. I moved, well, because I moved this one back to the center, let me just show you. Okay, that one is in the center. Now if I move that to the right and I put another one, each one is going to be on the right. That's what I'm trying to say. And you don't want that. Like I said, if you have a kick, and these are just so long because that's the way that the last one I did. It doesn't matter because on the kick, it's only going to hold, you know, it's when the light cuts off. That's how long that sound holds. So it's just like that. If you want to move each sound, you know, to kind of give it a stereo effect, then you can do that. And I'm going to delete this because it doesn't sound good. I was just giving you a preview of that. Now I'm going to keep pressing Control-Alt-Z, which is an undo, until I get this back to the way that it was before, because I don't want this in the piano roll just yet. Wow. It's a lot of them. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to start my next video here.